In April of 1895, Sherlock Holmes was extremely busy. Immersed in a complicated investigation, he was not in a frame of mind to welcome visitors. However...
Mr. Holmes?
A determined young woman, tall and queenly, insisted upon seeing him.
My name is Violet Smith, and...
Well, then, have a seat and tell us what is troubling you. I know that you're an ardent bicyclist, Miss Smith.
What? I beg your pardon.
There is a slight roughening where your shoes have been scraped by the bicycle pedals.
Oh, why, yes, I do bicycle a good deal. It has something to do with my visit today.
But your profession is, of course, music.
Why, yes.
Note the broadened fingertips, Watson, and the spirituality about the face.
Well...
And your complexion, Miss Smith, indicates that you work in the country.
I teach music in the country. I am employed by a widower, Mr. Carruthers, to teach music to his child. The position pays £100 a year.
Why, that's double the usual fee.
Yes, and for the sum I have been willing to live at Mr. Carruthers' house in Farnham during the week. Each weekend I return to London to stay with my mother. It is this journey which concerns me. Mr. Holmes, someone has been following me, and I can't discover who he is.
The Adventure of the Solitary Cyclist.
Please give us the details, Miss Smith.
On Saturday forenoons, I ride my bicycle to Farnham Station to get the 12:22 to town. The road from Mr. Carruthers' house to Farnham is lonely, particularly in the mile or more which passes the wood around Charlington Hall. It is rare to see anyone there. But on Saturday, 2 weeks ago, just as I was passing the wood, I glanced over my shoulder. A man, also on a bicycle, was following after me. I looked back again a short time later, and the man was gone. You can imagine how surprised I was when, on my return on the Monday, I saw the same man on the same stretch of road. My astonishment was increased when the incident occurred again the following Saturday and on Monday. This morning he was there again, but I was determined to find out who he was. I pedaled sharply around a turning of the road and waited for him to pass me. I looked around the corner. I could see a mile of road, but he was no longer on it. Mr. Holmes, my curiosity is becoming fear. Will you help me discover who is following me and why I am being followed?
I will do my best. Please tell me how you came to take such an out-of-the-way position, Miss Smith.
Some 4 months ago, Mother and I saw an advertisement in the Times inquiring for relatives of Mr. Ralph Smith. You can imagine how excited we were, for we thought someone had left us a fortune.
Who is Ralph Smith?
My uncle, father's brother. He went to Africa 25 years ago about some mining interests. We had never had a word of him since, even when my father died last year, leaving us very poor.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We went at once to the lawyer's office whose name was given in the paper. There we met 2 gentlemen, Mr. Carruthers and Mr. Woodley.
How do you do, me dears?
How do you do, ladies?
They said that my uncle, a friend of theirs in South Africa, had died in poverty and had asked them with his last breath to find and care for his relations. Mr. Carruthers was quite agreeable. He offered me the position of music teacher. I've been happy living in his home, except for Mr. Woodley's visits. Mr. Woodley seemed a most odious person, forever making eyes at me. Cyril would not wish me to know such a person.
Cyril?
Yes, Cyril Morton, an electrical engineer. We hope to be married at the end of the summer.
How does Mr. Woodley annoy you?
Once he seized me in his arms, attempted to kiss me, and swore he would marry me.
Come on, me dear, give me a kiss.
Oh, no! Only Mr. Carruthers pushed him away from me.
Dare you, sir?
Ow!
And then Mr. Woodley knocked Mr. Carruthers down.
You would you? Take that! Oh!
Could it be Mr. Woodley who is following you, Miss Smith?
Mr. Woodley has red hair. The man on the bicycle wears a hat, but he has a short, dark beard.
Would your fiancé, Mr. Morton, follow you on a bicycle?
I would surely know him, would I not?
Of course. Have you any other admirers?
Well, it has seemed sometimes that my employer, Mr. Carruthers, takes a great deal of interest in me.
I see. Thank you, Miss Smith. I will do all I can. Please take no step without letting me know.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
My dear Watson, it is part of the order of nature that such a woman should have followers. But for choice, Not on bicycles on lonely country roads.
Oh, Holmes, really? Why should this figure only follow Miss Smith as she passed Charlington Hall?
Exactly, Watson. Our first effort must be to find out who lives there.
You'll go down?
No, my dear fellow. You will.
What? Right you are, Holmes. The following Monday morning, I found myself behind a clump of flowering gorse near the main gate of Charlington Hall. The road had been deserted, but now I saw a cyclist with a short, dark beard approaching. Then the cyclist suddenly disappeared through a gap in the hedge. At that moment, I saw Miss Smith cycling from the station. After she had passed, the man emerged and followed her. I watched them until the curve of the road hid them from my sight. My next task was to find out who was the resident of Charlington Hall. I was referred to a house agent in London who told me that an elderly parson named Williamson had taken the house about a month ago. He would say no more. And that is my report, Holmes. Have I done well?
No, I must say you've done remarkably badly.
Oh, dear.
Your hiding place was faulty. You should have had a closer view.
Oh.
And to find the tenant by asking a London house agent.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
But don't look so downhearted. Here is a new development. A note from Miss Smith. Carruthers has proposed to her.
Indeed.
And she has refused. She says her situation has become a little strained.
I would say so.
Our young friend seems to be getting into deeper waters. I'm inclined to run down to Farnham tomorrow morning to test one or two theories.
Next evening, Sherlock Holmes returned rather the worse for wear.
Well.
Are you all right, Holmes?
I had occasion to use a bit of my expertise in boxing.
Why, Holmes?
I went to a public house to make discreet inquiries. The landlord said that Williamson, who rents Charlington Hall, used to be a clergyman. He then told me that Mr. Woodley is a frequent visitor at Charlington Hall, and we were discussing his unsavory reputation when... And I understand he's quite a scoundrel.
Who the blazes are you, sir? I'll teach you to go spreading slander.
Oh! I failed to avoid his vicious backhander, but managed to land a straight left. I emerged as you see me, and Mr. Woodley went home in a cart.
On Thursday, we had another letter from Miss Smith.
She will come to London on Saturday for good. She has been staying close to the house, for someone has been skulking about in the shrubbery. Ah, Carruthers has obtained a carriage. In it she will make her last trip to the train station. No more lonely bicycle rides.
Might she still be in danger?
Less so, Watson, less so.
But early that Saturday morning...
Watson, I've been an imbecile. It is a note from Violet Smith's mother. She has learned that Ralph Smith has only just died.
Good heavens.
A wealthy man.
By Jove!
We must go to Farnham at once.
As we left for Farnham, Sherlock Holmes slipped a revolver into his pocket. I was alarmed. We cautiously approached Charlington Hall. We could see in the distance a vehicle moving in our direction.
By heavens, Watson! If that is her carriage, she is early. She will be past Charlington Wood before we meet her. Run, Watson! Run! Come on, quickly! We are too late. It's empty. I was a fool. It's abduction or murder. Stop the horse, Watson.
Whoa! Whoa there! Whoa!
That's right, Watson. Pull his head around. Watson, look. A cyclist.
Holmes, that's the man.
Hola! Stop there! Where did you get that carriage? Pull up, man. Pull up, I say, or by George, I'll put a bullet into your horse.
You're the man we want to see. Where is Miss Violet Smith?
That's what I'm asking you. You're in her carriage.
We met this carriage on the road. There was no one in it. We drove back to help the lady.
Good Lord, what shall I do? They've got her, that hellhound Woodley and the evil parson. Come, man, stand by me and we'll save her. If I have to leave my carcass in Charlington Wood. Come this way.
This is where they went through the hedge.
That's Miss Smith. Hurry! This way. They're in the glade. Oh, the cowardly dogs. Follow me.
Come on, Watson.
Too late. Too late. Oh, what an idiot I've been. Woodley, you scoundrel.
You can take your beard off, Bob.
There. Just as I thought.
Great heavens!
It's Mr. Carruthers.
You and your pals have just come in time. Let me introduce Mrs. Woodley.
I'll see this woman righted if I have to swing for it. I told you what I'd do if you went through with your plan.
You're too late. She's my wife.
The brute!
You're wrong. She's your widow.
No! What terrible plan is being enacted here? Take a moment to consider the facts. Stop the machine if you need more time to read and answer these questions. Why did Carruthers and Woodley want to meet Ralph Smith's relatives? Why is the date of Ralph Smith's death important? Why did Carruthers pay Violet Smith a very high fee to teach music? Why is Williamson important? Why did Carruthers disguise himself and follow Miss Smith on a bicycle? Why did Woodley want to marry Miss Smith?
No, you don't. Mr. Williamson, drop that pistol. You too, Carruthers, give me your revolver. We'll have no more violence. Watson, see to Woodley, then send for the police. Miss Smith, are you at all hurt?
Hurt? Somewhat bruised. But that ruffian Woodley, is he?
The wound is not mortal, Holmes. He will live.
What? The blazes he will. Is this dear young woman to be tied to roaring Jack Woodley for life?
You need not fear that. Mr. Williamson has no authority to perform a marriage. In any case, abduction is a felony. But perhaps you would like to clear up a few details.
May I escort you to the house, Miss Smith?
Thank you.
A moment, Miss Smith. Mr. Carruthers, please tell Miss Smith your plan.
When Woodley and I left South Africa, Ralph Smith was dying.
Wait, you told me he was dead.
He was not.
We knew Smith had a large fortune that would be inherited by his next of kin.
You might examine this cable, Miss Smith. You are now a very wealthy woman.
We determined that one of us would marry Violet Smith and share her fortune with the other. Woodley was chosen for the husband. We played cards on the voyage, and he won.
Oh, Mr. Carruthers, how could you?
You got Miss Smith into your service, and Woodley was to do the courting there. But when Miss Smith couldn't stand him, you had a change of heart.
That is why I followed her on my bicycle. I was determined to protect her from that brute. I knew that Woodley had hired this ex-parson and that they were waiting to make a move the moment the cable came, telling that Smith had died. Woodley had to act, but I did not think that even he would stoop to attempt a forced marriage.
Ah, Mr. Carruthers, I perceive 3 of the county constabulary in the driveway. I do not think things will go well for Mr. Woodley and Mr. Williamson, and I fear that even you may not ride a bicycle for quite some time. Violet Smith Music Conservatory.
I say, Holmes, it's quite a handsome establishment, eh? Perhaps one day Miss Violet Smith would consider giving you lessons
What?
on the violin.
Oh.